tonight. Rain chances push out early Monday. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist Mallory Schnell.
61 now, Omaha, Lincoln, and Council Bluffs.
Schrock Innovations presents the Midwest #1 independent computer repair company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, Des Moines, and across the country via the Schrock desk. This is Compute This.
Good morning, folks, and welcome into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. Service centers, as the big voice said there, 4 locations for you. In Lincoln, we're just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. We did get a hold of Apple Maps and let them know, I'm not dead yet. And they said, oh, you're not permanently closed. Oh, sorry. How about your other 3 locations? Oh, my gosh, you got to be kidding me. Oh, they're not closed either. So we got that all fixed up. So now for Apple users, we're back on the map again, which is important, apparently. Apparently, a lot of people have those iPhone pad things, and they use them to, like, find stuff. It's crazy. So we got the Lincoln location in Omaha, 168th and Burke, just across the street from the Village Point Mall. In the Papillion metro area, we are on 84th and Highway 370, which is just across the street from the courthouse. There's a little shopping center. There's Ollie and Hobbs in there and Spin Pizza. A bunch of great places in there that you can eat, and there's not really any place to shop besides Schrock. Everything else is pretty much medical. When we're in a building with other medical practices, and they said, well, you're kind of medical-ish. You fix computers. That's I was like, yeah, we'll take it. And then, of course, the newest Schrock Innovations location in West Des Moines, Iowa, 9500 University Avenue in West Des Moines, where we are there to help you out with your computer needs as well. This week has been intense in the service centers. I wanted to take a moment to thank the guys and the gals in the service centers for keeping up with everything and trying to deliver that award-winning service that we are known for, that we strive to deliver. One of the great things about these launches is the only frame of reference that we had for the Windows 11 launch was the Windows 10 launch. When Windows 10 launched, we took in 1,000 computers in a week, and it was literally more than our human staff could process, and it was intense. So we were geared up, ready to go this time. We didn't know what was going to happen. We were trying to see metrics. You see, like how many people were going to upgrade to Windows 11. We knew a lot of computers out there wouldn't run Windows 11, and that's why we were selling a lot of computers all of a sudden. We had to actually add another employee to help us build computers, just to build them fast enough. So that we knew we were selling more computers. So, okay, is that an indication of whether or not people are going to upgrade to Windows 11? I don't know. Then once we had the computers built and sold, we said, okay, we have Safe Upgrade. As you guys probably are aware of by now, there's a big upgrade for Windows 10 coming at the end of this month. And so we wanted to see how many people are purchasing Safe Upgrade. That might be a really good indication of how many people plan to stay with Windows 10. And I have to say our Safe Upgrade sales were only down by about 10% over normal at this time. And we promoted it less because we've been promoting the Windows 11 rollout. So that tells us a lot of people are going to stay with Windows 10. So maybe we won't take in 1,000 a day. Well, we had some people that dropped off early, which was great. We were able to get them cracked out right away. And then we were in queue all week. In queue in the service centers means that the benches were full and that we had computers waiting to get on the bench. There was a queue to get on the bench. I believe the Papillion Service Center, they might still be in queue. It depends how quiet things got during the Husker game last night. In the Omaha Service Center was in queue as well. Lincoln was not in queue, and Des Moines had just gotten out of queue. So everything is back to normal, guys. So if you were holding off to come in for that Windows 11 upgrade until everything was back to normal, it is back to normal, and it's good to go. So how did Windows 11 go? Any problems? Remember when Windows 10 rolled out and there were all these bugs for days afterwards? The something happened error. The box would pop up on your screen, and the title would say something happened. And in the message area, it would just say something happened. But it was an error that kept you from doing anything with your computer. So you'd call into us and say, well, it appears something happened. All right, I guess something happened. There was no something happened error this time around. In fact, there were very, very few errors at all. Again, we recommended last week that if you run a virtualized environment in your large corporation for your users, we recommended that you do not move to Windows 11 at this time because there are known compatibility issues with virtualized environments. Yep, that's broke. So, that's still broke. So don't do it there. But everywhere else apparently went really well. The only people that had problems with the Windows 11 upgrade was me. Yeah, apparently me. You see, I upgraded my computer a while back, and I got me a Threadripper. A Threadripper is like the big dog daddy AMD Ryzen processor. It's literally the size of like 2 saltine crackers stacked together. I mean, side by side, it's a huge processor. 24 cores of processing power. Most people have like 2 or 4 or 6. I have 24 because, I'm doing a lot with this computer, right? And I want it to be fast. And, I own a computer company, so I got to have my street cred with the guys, right? So I got my big daddy processor. And apparently if you have more than 8 cores with your processor, you do see a 10 to 15% performance drop with Windows 11. So my computer is actually running slower with Windows 11 than it was with Windows 10. But with that said, I am glad that I installed it because I need to start learning this interface so I can walk you guys through things here on the radio when you have questions about Windows 11. There was some changes to the interface, as you have seen, if you've seen anyone running where maybe you're running Windows 11. You're going to get nag windows that pop up on your computer screen if your computer is compatible with Windows. In fact, you're going to get some nag windows even if you're not compatible, so that you can install the tool that will tell you you're not compatible. Sometimes you're going to get nag windows if you are compatible, though, that say, hey, install this now. This is a touchy subject that happened with the Windows 10 thing because we have what is actually happening. This is like when you're trying to raise the debt limit and you realize that if you're a jerk about it, it's going to get pinned on you. So you do a short-term reprieve for the other side to give them a couple months to not have it be blamed on you for the failure when they raise it, or not have any of the blame for raising it placed on you, and it can go squarely on them. And then your side yells at you because you're like a traitor or something. It's kind of like that, except it's Windows 11. So yeah, all the way around, guys, it's a good operating system. It is doing exactly what was expected. When I installed it on my computer, I had a new employee I was teaching to install it on the computer in the service center, and I said, now check for updates. And he said, it came out today. I'm like, check for updates. And he did, and there was a cumulative update already for Windows 11, released the day it was released. We were actually playing with it on, the day before it was released because, we got it on Australia time. It's pretty cool there, koala time. 888-250-2091 is the number to join us on the program. So we had a lot of customers that upgraded to Windows 11. We had some customers that had us actually upgrade their computers so they could run Windows 11. If you have a modular desktop, for example, a lot of times all we have to do is change one microchip inside your computer to make it Windows 11 compatible. We had some customers that literally purchased computers from us in May, and they brought it in. I want Windows 11, and then we had to tell them they couldn't get it. Why is that? These were not fun calls to make, to call people and tell them that the computer that they bought 6 months ago is just not compatible. Here's the deal. You're not alone. Lots of people bought HPs, bought Dells. Heck, the day before Windows 11 was released, Microsoft had a Surface on their website, a $6,000 Surface workstation that was not Windows 11 compatible. So Microsoft gave an end run for these people. They basically created these registry links that bypass all the security checks so that you can run Windows 11 on your computer, but you get none of the security enhancements. So you get the pretties, but you get none of the security enhancements. So you think you're running Windows 11, well, you may as well actually be running Windows 10. Now, let me walk you through how this works. Most people who buy a Dell or an HP or a Toshiba or Sony, they're going to use it for 1.5 to 2 years before they toss it and move on. So what Microsoft is thinking here is these OEM manufacturers were upset because they had computers in the pipeline that were not going to be sold because they're not Windows 11 compatible, because Microsoft was so incredibly restrictive on the hardware requirements, because they wanted... There is some truth to the fact that the hardware, you need to have hardware that supports virtualization to get all the security benefits, but you can get that on a 7th gen and newer processor. So why did you make it 8th gen and newer? It doesn't make a lot of sense. They said that the failure rates, the blue screen rates were much higher on computers that were older. If you actually do the math, they're a fraction of a percentage point higher. It's not significant at all. So, it was a little restrictive, and that ticked some people off. But they created these registry entries that you can change that will bypass everything and make Windows 11 install. And we can do that for customers. We are encouraging people not to, however, because we don't know what's going to happen 1 year down the line. As you might remember, Windows 11 has a lower cost of ownership than Windows 10. So there's only one annual update instead of two. So there's not going to be a 22H1 for Windows 11. There will be a 22H2 for Windows 11. Does that make sense? There's only one update a year, whereas Windows 10 gets two. So when this update comes out, are you going to be able to install the update if you are using the registry hacks to make your non-compatible computer compatible? We suspect the answer is no. So is that the end of the world? No, not at all. Lots of customers are one version behind on their Windows installation. It's when you get to be two versions behind, things start to get hairy. So by the end of year 2, now you're 2 years behind. Microsoft figures you're probably moving on from that computer anyway, right? And all of a sudden you can't get security updates, and in 2024 your computer is a lump of coal and you have to buy a new one. Whereas if you would have just stayed with Windows 10, you'd be good through 2025. So again, the recommendation gets a little complicated, and I hope I've explained it clearly enough. But if your computer cannot run Windows 11, if it's not compatible, you should stay on Windows 10 until 2025 and then move on to a new computer, or upgrade your computer so it can run Windows 11. If your computer can run Windows 11, the rollout was incredibly smooth, guys. I've never seen a rollout from Microsoft go this smoothly. It was beautiful. You're totally clear to install Windows 11. You're not going to have issues or problems, things like that. There were 5 bugs that were considered to be, oh my gosh, bugs. One of them was the virtualization bug. One of them is the bug that I've got with super fast processors that probably, unless you paid $900 for the chip in your computer, you probably don't have that problem. Another one was some Intel older Wi-Fi adapters are having internet slowdown issues. Yes, it's running about 10% slower, but you're not going to notice that on your internet connection, and it's going to be fixed with a patch this month. So all in all, those were the big bad bugs. All in all, it was a really great rollout. The interface is nice. I like what they've done with the start menu. Not that they moved it to the center of the screen. I don't care if it's the center or the left. You can actually change that so it's back on the left if you want, and you can go into the settings and do that. But I like when you click on it, it doesn't bring up that big list of useless tiles anymore. Now you actually have stuff that you can look at and use. I like the fact that I can type the name of what I want to. If I want to run the calculator, I can type calc and hit enter, and it'll open the calculator. Or I can type notepad and hit enter, and I don't have to go looking for the ends and then go into notepad. You could do that on Windows 10 too, but it wasn't very intuitive. It's much more intuitive on Windows 11. Highly recommended. All right, we're gonna jump. We're gonna go to the phones here as soon as we get some callers. As soon as I do that, though, I probably should drop the phone number first, right? So 888-250-2091. 888-250-2091 is the number to join us on the program. And of course, as we do every week, if you ask a question, make a comment, we'll put you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate, good for anything your heart desires in the Service Center. Real quick before we go into that, last week, if you missed the show, we did talk a lot about Windows 11 last week. So if you're kind of like, I don't know what's going on with Windows 11, I don't want to do it all again because we did that last week, and I know I'll bore a lot of people. So you can listen to the show last week at SchrockInnovations.com. You can watch it there as well as the After Schrock. Last week we told you about Windows 11. We told you the pros and cons of upgrading. We went through all the specifics on it. We also told you about 2 updates that were out for older Apple devices. If you have an older iPhone or Mac product, you might want to take a look at that. Also, we warned you about some Android malware that's out there stealing passwords off of people's stuff. So we also told you about that. You want to make sure that you catch that show there. As I mentioned, Windows 2.1H2, the second version of Windows 10 for this year, is coming out at the end of this month. So if the Windows 11 stuff doesn't matter to you because you're not doing it, this matters to you because you're staying on Windows 10. So you want to make sure you check out a copy of Safe Upgrade on our website at SchrockInnovations.com. It will do the 2.1H2 upgrade for you safely, just like we would do on the bench in the Service Center. Without any bugs or problems. You have a warranty behind the installation, then it works out really well. You can pick that up on our website. I believe we have just under 100 of those remaining, which, like I said, usually by this time we're pretty much sold out. So that's the number, the 100 we have left roughly. Those are your Windows 11 users that moved on. Facebook went dark for a day. Got some interesting perspective on this, what actually went wrong, why it happened, how it happened. It wasn't a big conspiracy thing. It was just a really big idiot that did something really stupid, and then a giant snowball rolling down a snowy hill. It might make you smile a little bit given everything that's going on this week with Facebook. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I think somebody saw online. So Mark Zuckerberg lost $6 billion today. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. And there's an ad out we're going to cover on the program from Intel. And I shared this on the Schrock Innovations Facebook page, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations, where consequently we're broadcasting live right now. Epic troll by Intel of Apple. Literally brought a bunch of Apple users into a room that are like full. I mean, these are Apple fan people. They were paid for their time, but they were actual real people who actually use real Apple products exclusively. They don't use anything else. And then they showed them all the cool stuff they could have if they didn't use Apple products that they can't get from Apple. They told them it was a secret Apple testing lab. I mean, come on, how stupid are you? Apple doesn't share their upcoming stuff. In fact, if you find an iPhone in a bar, for example, they'll sue you and chase you and destroy your life because you're going to steal the secrets of their technology a month before it's released. So that actually happened to a guy, by the way. He picked up an iPhone in a bar. It was in a case to make it look like a different phone. He opened it up and he was like, "What is this?" And it turns out it was a test phone that some Apple employee left at the bar. Oops. And it was his fault for finding it, actually. So it just turned out he was a tech blogger. What are you going to do? But anyway, so this video, I'd encourage you to go watch it there at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. But we'll go blow by blow through it and tell you what the Apple users said that they would like to have from Apple. These Apple users, when they were told these weren't Apple products, they weren't like, "Oh wow, I hate Apple now." They were dumbfounded that these were not Apple products. That it was as if in their minds, beautiful, sleek devices that have innovative capabilities simply couldn't be designed by anybody else because Apple was so good at it. And when they were shown things that were better than Apple stuff, they assumed that it was like prototype Apple products that they just hadn't had the opportunity to purchase yet. So it was their reaction is just amazing. So check out that video, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. 888-250-2091. We're going to take our first break of the program. When we come back, Steve, Rick, and our second Steve, your calls are coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations repair technicians also make house calls. Make an appointment and let us bring our award-winning computer support right to your home or business. In 1798, Eli Whitney's Connecticut Musket Factory was the first business in North America to use replaceable parts in a firearm. Before Eli's factory, if your musket broke, you had to send it away to an expert gunsmith for repairs, or just toss it and buy a new musket. Technology manufacturing has come a long way since the 18th century, but you wouldn't know it by looking at today's big box store computers. Dell, HP, Sony, and other manufacturers continue to take away your freedom to upgrade and repair your computer by eliminating expansion and repair options. Some desktops are even powered by a tiny laptop adapter. Schrock Innovations believes in Eli Whitney's idea of interchangeable and replaceable components, and that's why our custom-built modular computers last longer and cost less to repair than computers you see at big box stores. Ask your friends and family how often they replace their box store computers, and they'll probably tell you every couple of years. And what do they do with the old machines? They just get thrown out like broken muskets. Imagine a place where your computer's problems can be fixed quickly and inexpensively. Imagine keeping your computer for 6 years or more. You are imagining the kind of computers we build every day at Schrock Innovations. Our modular systems last longer, perform faster, and cost less over the long term than anything you can buy at a big box store. While the talented technicians at Schrock Innovations can't make you a musket even if they tried, our commitment to the freedom offered by modular computers is the modern-day extension of Eli's innovative musket factory. We think Eli Whitney would be proud, and you can take pride in owning a small piece of American innovation, the modular computer from Schrock Innovations. Compute This Pro Tip 178. Those little life-saving surge protector strips are vital to your computer's health and should be used whenever possible, even for laptops. As computers get smaller and more powerful, they're also becoming more sensitive to dirty power, and your power is a lot dirtier than you might think. Even if you have a whole home surge protection, most power surges are generated within your own home. If you've ever vacuumed and seen the lights get dimmer and brighter, you created a surge. Surge protectors can only absorb so much energy measured in joules. When that capacity is exhausted, your surge protector becomes a glorified extension cord and needs to be replaced. You should always look for surge protectors that give audible alerts when they're no longer able to protect your equipment. Schrock recommends these because the lights on most strips are just power lights and they don't tell you when it's time to replace the unit. If in doubt, replace your surge protectors annually to keep your expensive TVs, computers, and other electronic equipment safe. This pro tip is brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Oh, welcome back, folks. You're listening to Compute This. My name's Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company, where we fix computers, we build websites, we recover data off crashed hard drives, we build new systems, we install Windows 11. And Aaron posts on our Facebook page just now, where we're broadcasting live, by the way. I didn't really have an issue with the Facebook crash. I panicked for like 5 minutes, and then I relaxed and crocheted and watched a movie and took a nap. It was fine. So that reaction is not terribly out of the ordinary for the Facebook crash. We're going to talk about that coming up on the program here in just a bit. But first off, 888-250-2091 is the number to be a part of the program, and that's what Steve has done this morning. Steve, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This? Steve,
is this me?
Yes, it's the first Steve. Steve number 1.
Steve 1, okay. I had this desire to be bleeding edge, I guess. So I ran out and bought me a nice new computer on Friday. I thought it was going to have Windows 11 on it, but it just had Windows 10 on it.
Right.
So now my thing is, do I want to wait until it pushes Windows 11 out to me? Do I want to go to 21H2 on Windows 10 and then go to Windows 11? Yeah, what do I want to do?
Gotcha.
I don't have to transfer off my old computer, and I really don't want to transfer all my stuff off my old computer until I got Windows 11 on the new one.
Yeah, you're in a really nice position here because you have this brand new computer with no files on it, so there's not a lot of risk. So if you were somebody who had all of your stuff on your computer, I would encourage you to bring it into the service center and let us do the Windows 11 install for you. But since this is kind of a risk-free scenario for you, if you click on Start and click on the Settings gear in Windows 10, you can click on Updates. And it's going to have a little banner at the top of that page that just says, check to see if your computer is Windows 11 compatible. And if you click on that,
I did that.
Yeah, it'll tell you it's compatible, whatever else. And then at that point, you can just follow the prompts and go through and install it. You don't even have to wait for Microsoft to push it to you.
I must be doing something wrong. I didn't see a way when I went to the Microsoft website, or does Secure Updater, does that take care of all that for me?
Well, Secure Updater doesn't do anything with Microsoft patches or especially operating system upgrades. It doesn't do anything. Secure Updater just takes care of your third-party software, like your Adobe Reader and your CCleaner and things like your Malwarebytes, things like that, to make sure that they stay up to date. What I would encourage you to do, it's pretty straightforward. If you Google or duck search download Windows 11, it'll take you to the Microsoft Windows 11 page, and there'll be an option there that says upgrade this computer. And if you click on that, that's the fastest way to get it done.
Okay, that's great. I have one more question about the new. What I bought was an Intrepid, and I had it on sort of a soft surface, and it sounded like there was a whole lot of fan noise. And I looked, and there's a big vent on the bottom side of that thing. Should I prop that up on something like harder so that it's got room to breathe? Yeah, you definitely. The air intake is on the bottom. I didn't realize you bought one of ours. Okay, so let me roll the recommendation back here for a second. Yes, unfortunately, we couldn't pre-install Windows 11 on computers before it was released. Now, of course, if you would come in today, everything that we sell is running Windows 11. So one of the things, when you buy a computer from Schrock, there was a piece of paper on the bottom side to sign up for your free 90-day trial of the Schrock desk. Yep. I'm assuming you did that, right? Oh, yeah. Okay, perfect. Before I ever left. All right, let me tell you exactly how you do this then. You call a local Schrock service center, and you say, hi, I'm a Schrock Desk subscriber, and I would like you
to upgrade my computer to Windows 11 that I bought from you last week. Okay? And they'll say, wow, okay. And it'll literally, they'll remote into it. They'll go do a search for download Windows 11, and they'll click upgrade this PC. And you can just sit back, grab the cup of coffee, kick your feet up, and wait. Watch them work. It will take some time, though. It's going to take probably an hour or so to do the full upgrade. And they will lose their connection in the middle of the upgrade. So they'll kind of be reliant on you to call them back when it's done to say, yep, we're going good. Windows 11 is in there, but we have installed it on several of the computers, including the Intrepid. We know it is completely compatible, and it works fine without a hitch.
One quick question more. It says, at some point, do you want to index the content of the files or just index the files? Mm-hmm. And I've never indexed the content before. Do you have a recommendation on that?
Indexing the content can be really handy if you're searching for something. So here's the difference. Indexing the files says if you have a file called recipes, like the name of the file is called recipes, and then you do a search for recipes, it will search all the file names to find the recipes file. When you index the content, it's actually indexing what's inside the files. So if you say, where's my calzone recipe? You could search for calzone, and it will look inside all the documents for any reference to calzone. And then it'll bring that up on the screen. So if you get to the point in life where you have an overwhelming number of documents, where pretty much I'm at in my life, having the contents indexed when I'm looking for a tax return for something, or looking for, did I send those health insurance forms in? I can search for the name of a person on a form, for example, and it'll pull it up on my search. Indexing the content is recommended. It will take some time to do, but it yields much faster results when you're trying to find something that's difficult to find.
Okay. Hey, thanks a million for all the answers.
Hey, no problem, Steve. Thanks for the call. All right, we got to take a bottom of the hour break here. Rick and Steve, stay on the line. When we come back, Windows 10 2.1H2 is expected this month. What to watch out for there for your Windows 10 computer. Also, the day that Facebook went dark. It was, I know Aaron's kind of joking about it on Facebook over here right now, but it had some ramifications. Think about how many websites you sign in by using your Facebook account. That went dark too. So a lot of other things went dark that were unexpected, like access to the Facebook buildings. Your beep card didn't work anymore because, Facebook was down. How does the engineer get in to fix the... oh, boy. Snowball. We're going to tell you what happened with the Facebook outage coming up next on Compute This.
Update all of your third-party apps on your computer with Secure Updater. It keeps all your apps running smoothly and helps block viruses. Download it for free today at secureupdater.com. Every person listening to this broadcast has either experienced data loss or knows someone who has. When you think about it, you have a lot more data stored in many more places than you'd like to admit. Have you downloaded those videos from your phone, backed up the pictures on your iPad, or even tackled that sometimes daunting task of backing up your entire computer's hard drive? Most people just don't back up their stuff, and that's why Schrock Innovations has one of the most advanced data recovery centers in the Midwest. Equipped with the latest DDI data imaging devices, state-of-the-art custom recovery software, and Omaha's best data recovery technicians, Schrock Innovations has a 96.8% success rate when recovering data from damaged hard drives, flash drives, camera cards, and more. We all know we should back up our data, but if you are ever caught in a data loss nightmare, call the experts at Schrock Innovations to get your data back right where it belongs, safe and backed up on a stable hard drive. Compute This pro tip number 753. Have you ever wondered how the bad guys always seem to find a way into your computer? Gone are the good old days of email worms and I love you viruses. Nobody wants to steal your data anymore, or in many cases even your identity. Today's cybercriminals want to sell access to your computer or hold your data for ransom. The bad guys are exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities to break into systems that are supposed to be hack-proof. These vulnerabilities are always newly discovered, and the criminals have a brief time to exploit them before they get patched. Antivirus and firewalls do not prevent these attacks, but you can minimize your computer's exposure by installing all security patches as quickly as possible. The average computer needs 12 patches a week. That's not including the ones that are automatically delivered to your computer. Boost your cybersecurity by staying on top of it manually, or use a patch installation program like Secure Updater to get your computer the patches it needs. This pro tip is brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
News, I'm Karen McHugh. A sheriff's deputy in Arizona's Maricopa County is on life support this morning. An attack Saturday left him unconscious and bleeding. A suspect is in custody.
There was an exchange of gunfire. We had deputies and tactical units in the immediate area. They were able to locate the suspect not too far away. He had been struck by the gunfire and was transported to the hospital where he is in critical condition.
Sheriff Paul Penzone. Football, American style, returns to London today.
After COVID restrictions on travel forced the cancellation of international NFL games last year, the league is back in London with the Atlanta Falcons squaring off against the New York Jets today. Jets rookie quarterback Zach Wilson is eager to get on the field in front of a full house at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Both teams enter 1-3 on the season as the Jets and Falcons kick off from London at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
Fox's Matt Napolitano. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
Mostly cloudy skies on tap again today with a bit more sunshine off to the northwest of the metro. We will hold a shower chance for areas south of Omaha today. High temperatures top out in the lower 70s. We'll drop into the low 50s tonight. Rain chances push out early Monday. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist Mallory Schnell.
61 Omaha, Council Bluffs, 59 in Lincoln.
Alrighty, folks. Whew, I can't believe the show's already half over. Well, the good news here is there's a whole nother show after this one on Facebook. Assuming it doesn't go down, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. It's called the After Schrock, where we talk about all kinds of stuff that just doesn't fit into the program. One story we're going to have on the After Schrock, which, you debate whether you should talk about some things. Some things just don't make sense for you to talk about. But there's this guy who created an add-on for Google Chrome called Unfollow Everyone. And what you do, because apparently you can follow people on Facebook and stuff. You can follow Schrock Innovations on Facebook, right? There is no way to, if you want to ditch Facebook and leave, there's no way to just mass unfollow everybody. You have to go through one by one, every friend, every page, and unfollow them individually. Well, he created a browser extension that does it with a single click. And then Facebook banned him from Facebook. And they were like, whoa, that's crazy. And so he was like, well, I guess I'm not on Facebook. Good thing I unfollowed everybody. And then they sent him a cease and desist letter saying he needs to remove his extension from the Chrome store, basically. It's a free extension because, boo, lawyers. It's still available, by the way. But do you really talk, when you have a show that airs on Facebook, do you talk about the unfollow everyone? Is that a smart thing to do? Let me tell you about this dial on your radio that allows you to change the station. It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So that's the kind of stuff we put in the Aftershock for our truly dedicated, hardcore, as Aaron put it this morning, Schrockvillians, which is, it looks like Schrock villains, but it's Schrockvillians. It's different. It's completely different. Number to join us, 888-250-2091. Back into the phones. Rick, thanks for hanging on the line. How can I help you on Compute This today?
I've got a PC here. I don't believe I got the last update to Windows, and now this new one's coming out.
Gotcha.
If I get the safe upgrade, will that bring everything up to date?
It will. The updates are cumulative. So if you missed one and you're one behind and you get the new one that's coming out at the end of the month, it will catch you up. You don't have to do it twice.
Okay. How do I know which one I have now?
Gotcha. Are you in front of the computer right now?
Yes.
Okay. So down on your start menu. So your start menu is in the lower left-hand corner. If you could right-click on your start menu.
Yes.
And then left-click on the word system. It's toward the top quarter there of the options.
Yes.
And once you've clicked on system, it should open the About Your Computer page.
Sure.
If you scroll down to where it says Windows version, it'll tell you 20H2 or 21H1, or it'll have a number like that.
Ooh, say Windows version. 20H2.
There you go. So you're on the 2020 second half. So you're October of 2020. So you're right. You are one behind right now. You'll be 2 behind at the end of October. If you get safe upgrade, you'll be not behind at all.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for the call, Rick. I appreciate it. Steve, number 2, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This?
Yeah, you might have covered this earlier, but I have a holiday special in 2015. Is that upgradable to be able to put Windows 11 in, or should I just go ahead and do the safe upgrade for the Windows 10 this round?
Gotcha. The 2015 holiday special is a borderline, because our main computer line in 2015 was based on an FM2 chip, which means absolutely nothing to anybody listening. The holiday special may have been on an AM4 socket. It was a brand new socket in 2015. So it depends on how stable it was. And unfortunately, I don't have that data in front of me here at the station right now. So my suggestion would be we'll check it for free for you. If you just check it in and say, Thor said on the radio, you guys would take a look and tell me if I'm Windows 11 compatible or not. We'll do that for you. There's not an hour of labor or anything like that to look. And if we can change the chip out, we can get you a quote on doing that then. But if we can't change the chip, then we just change the motherboard and the chip. So, I mean, there's always a solution. And with a 2015 holiday special, that thing's only 6 years old. It was a beautiful thing. We've got 2 new employees in the Papillion Service Center getting trained up. And watching them do maintenance checkups on 2010 holiday specials, and then we're training them. Okay, now check the warranty, right? To make sure if there's any problems, we know if it's under warranty. And so they look at the warranty start date, and they're like, 2010? What? They just, these kids were only 11 years old when that computer was made, So it's kind of the thing for them to be able to see that. So like then now when we sell holiday specials this year and you tell customers it'll be around for a decade, you'll believe them because you've seen them. You've worked on the ones that are over a decade old. Now, Windows 11 is throwing a kink in the fly in the mayonnaise or whatever you want to say because of the hardware requirements. Now, that means that this computer would be serviceable until 2025. So you're still going to get your 10 years out of it, which is great if you stay on Windows 10. But if we can get you onto Windows 11, there is no reason this computer couldn't do Windows 11 with the right hardware. So definitely bring it in. Let us take a look, and let us check it out for you. Is it a laptop or a desktop, by the way?
Desktop.
Okay, perfect, because we can't upgrade the laptop. So if the laptop's not compatible, it's not compatible. But one of the questions, thank you for the call, Steve. I appreciate it. One of the questions actually that Randy threw up on Facebook here was, Parker told me my laptop was Windows 11 compatible, but Microsoft tells me it's not Windows 11 compatible. I did buy Safe Upgrade, so I'm ready for the Windows 10 patch. So here's the thing. Microsoft is going to tell you your computer is incompatible if it's hardware incompatible or if your settings are incompatible. Either one. So if it's just a BIOS setting, a setting in the computer that we have to change to get you to upgrade to Windows 11, that's part of the installation that we do for Windows 11. So, Randy, if you're listening right now, I would encourage you to give us a call in the service center and let us do a Schrock desk just to confirm, because maybe somebody on the work order wrote Windows 11 meant to write not compatible, and then the phone rang and they answered it and then they wrote compatible. It's like Windows 11 compatible. So it could have been a mistake, but I'm just going to err on the side. Parker knows what he's doing. So he doesn't usually tell people things are compatible if they're not. It sounds like there might just be a software change, like a setting change we have to make in the registry, or in the BIOS to make it compatible, like turning on the TPM settings, for example, or something like that. And that can make a lot of incompatible computers magically compatible, which is why we couldn't create an automated program to do this for you, because there are so many options in the hardware requirements that it just made it impossible, and we can't change those settings without being in front of the computer, unfortunately. And I don't want to walk you through changing the settings because it's different on every motherboard. And if you change the wrong setting, you have to turn on your secure boot. You have to turn on your TPM 2.0 settings. Of course, it's not called TPM 2.0. In AMD, it's FTPM, and in Intel, it's PPT, because that just is completely understandable. Don't ask me why. It's just how it is. Why do I know that? Because I spent 20 minutes looking through the flipping BIOS for FTP on an Intel board, and one of the guys walks up to me and says, Papa Schrock, it's not called that. Like, what? What do you mean? Why wouldn't it be called that? We don't ask why. We just change the setting. All right. 888-250-2091. Speaking of Windows 10, if your computer is not compatible, and you cannot run Windows 11, it is strongly recommended that you pick up a copy of Safe Upgrade for the upcoming release of Windows 10 that's coming out at the end of the month. Here's why. Microsoft releases a tiny little update in the spring to kind of lay the railroad tracks for the giant 20-ton locomotive that's coming in the fall. And now it's the fall. So choo-choo, the train is coming down the tunnel. 80% chance everything goes just fine for you, especially if your computer is 18 months to 24 months old. You're in that sweet spot. It's going to get tested. You're going to be fine. Mostly. Maybe. If you're an older computer, you're probably not going to be fine. There's going to be a glitch or a problem. The computer won't reboot right, or it'll install and then roll back, and it'll keep trying to install every time you reboot and roll back every time because it fails. Or it'll reboot and all your files will be gone. We had a customer in the Des Moines Service Center that a check disk ran on their computer and literally wiped half their data off the hard drive, and that was just a check disk. That happens on every single upgrade of Windows 10. So yeah, that's bad. So when we do it on the bench in the Service Center, the way that we do the upgrades, we check a lot of health factors on the computer beyond what Drive Advisor checks, for example, especially if you have an NVMe hard drive, things like that. We're going to check things a little bit more deeply than what Drive Advisor does. We're going to make sure that when we run the installation of Windows, the new version of Windows 10 on your computer, that if you can have a backup on your computer, you do have one that's current. There's a lot of different things that we do that you just don't do at home. And Safe Upgrade is the do-it-yourself at-home way. You save about $30 off bringing it into the shop, and you don't have to cart it all around. It's kind of nice. But you can do it yourself at home. You double-click on the program to run it. You put in your Schrock username, which is your email. You put in your password, which you chose when you bought the thing. So if you don't know it, you can reset it, but we don't know it. We can't see it. And then it goes and it does its thing. And then your computer gets upgraded. And if something goes wrong along the way, now you have a warranty, just like we did it on the bench in the Service Center. So you can call somebody and point a finger at us and say, your software didn't work. And then we'll say, oh, golly, let's take a look at that. And then you have a warranty because if something goes sideways, we're going to make it right. So that's what Safe Upgrade is. You purchase it on our website at SchrockInnovations.com. You click on Shop and Specials, and it's right there. It is not ready to run yet because Microsoft hasn't released the update yet. When Microsoft releases the update, we will call you. We will literally call you. We will literally text you. We will literally send you an email. We will probably not do smoke signals, but we might. You just never know. Is it smoke from Vala's, or is it a smoke? Vala's is a pumpkin patch in Nebraska. Or is it Schrock telling me it's time to run my Safe Upgrade? We don't know. It's a scary Halloween joke. But either way, you're going to know that it's time to run Safe Upgrade when it's time to go. And if you try to run it early, it'll say it's not time yet. So there we go. 888-250-2091. We're going to take... Let's see. We got to take a break here. We're going to take a break real quick. When we come back, Facebook went dark and the world stopped turning. What happened? Why did it happen? Why did it take so long to fix? Was it malicious hackers? Was it the Russians? Was it Donald Trump? We'll tell you coming up next on Compute This.
Now you can configure and purchase laptops, desktops, tablets, and more, all at the new SchrockInnovations.com. Check out our specials for one-of-a-kind discounts and deals.
Remember the good old days when virus detection worked like Where's Waldo? Spot the virus in the striped shirt and you win. Today's infections are changing hourly to avoid detection and use social engineering to trick you into making mistakes. Using yesterday's security to defend against today's threats is like using leeches to stop an infection. It just doesn't work. We recommend Sophos Intercept X antivirus backed by Schrock's virus-free guarantee. Sophos uses the power of AI to detect the patterns of a virus attack and responds with Schrock's custom actions that stop it fast. With Sophos on your PC, Mac, Android, or iOS device, you get the state-of-the-art protection you need to defend against the most advanced attacks out there. In fact, if your device gets a virus while running Sophos antivirus, Schrock will remove it for free, guaranteed. It hasn't happened yet, and we intend to keep it that way. Ditch your dad's antivirus and keep your device, data, and identity safe with Sophos and Schrock Innovations.
And now Compute This Pro tip number 373. Everyone knows we're supposed to back up our computers and then check those backups periodically to make sure they're working. So why don't most people do it? Lots of people have different ideas about what backing up means. Is it copying files to a flash drive? Is it using a fancy backup program? And how do you know it's working anyway? Windows makes backups easy through free software that's already on your computer. Open your control panels and click Update and Security. Select Backup and choose from all of the available options to get a regular, reliable checkup. You'll need something to back up to, like a Schrock modular storage device or some other backup hard drive. Backups usually run once a week, but you can always change the frequency. The best part is that if your backup ever fails, you'll see a notification in the lower right corner by your clock telling you something's up. Backing up your important data has never been easier, so take a moment to back up your computer today. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks. Welcome back in. This is the final segment of the show. We're going to go all the way through to the end because we got a lot to do. I'm going to remind everybody the After Schrock is coming up next. You can watch it on Facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. Fear not, if you don't do the Book of Faces or if it goes down, the video will be made available on Monday at SchrockInnovations.com, where we post all of our radio shows. You can check out the video there as well. Today on the After Schrock, we're going to talk about the big crypto rally this week. The guy that made the Unfollow Me tool that got kicked off Facebook for telling people how to unfollow people on Facebook. We're going to give you guys an update. You might remember we talked a while back. I asked your opinion on what you guys thought. We're affectionately calling it computers as a service because we don't have a better name for it yet. But this is like the way of the future for hardware. We were really forward thinking when we thought of it. It just took us forever to implement it. So we're going to give you an update on that. Do you know you can get Roomba as a service now? You can pay a monthly amount to have the super duper high end $1,500 Roomba that sucks everything off the carpet and then sticks it in a bin in your house, and you just pay an easy $35 a month forever. You never actually own the Roomba. It's not your Roomba. I suppose when you're done, you have to pay to ship it back, but you don't have to put $1,500 up front for a vacuum cleaner. It's not even a Rainbow, and you get it's expensive, but it's the really intelligent one. So I mean, this hardware as a service thing is coming. Imagine when it comes for cars, where you never actually have a lease or you never actually buy the car. You just have a monthly payment that you pay directly to Ford or directly to Chevy, and you drive the car. I mean, they already have a finance division, right? It's coming. It's coming. Also, we're going to talk about the holiday special a little bit. I've got a picture on my phone I haven't shared yet. The parts are arriving. We're stacking them up. We're getting them ready to build. It's a beautiful thing to watch, to look at them all sitting in the service center, just waiting to get birthed together into beautiful little computers. So we need a couple more early birds, and we're going to talk about that, what that is and what that entails on the After Schrock today. So make sure you stay tuned for the After Schrock. Now, Facebook went dark this week. For a 6-hour period, Facebook was completely offline. When I say completely offline, I mean Facebook.com didn't exist. Just like .com doesn't exist, Facebook.com did not exist for 6 hours. So how does that happen? All right, let me take you deep into Alfonso territory for Schrock Interactive here. When you want to put a website on the internet, you go out and you reserve a domain name. This is the .com name of your website. It could be SchrockInnovations.com, for example. You reserve that, and then you put your website up, and that name is what people type in to get to your website. What happens if you accidentally unreserve your domain name? That's essentially what Facebook did this week. So some guy working remote somewhere was trying to make a change to an internal router inside of Facebook that controls how data is routed between data centers. And he accidentally changed the wrong settings, and he accidentally unregistered Facebook.com from the internet. And it takes time for that change to propagate, you see. When you unregister your domain, the DNS system actually archives these things, and it only updates every few hours. At a best, sometimes 24 hours to get a full update around the world. So for the first hour, only a few people noticed something was going on. And the second hour, a lot of people noticed something was going on. And then, of course, it was like 6 hours of darkness for Facebook. The reason why was it 6 hours? Why did it last so long? Didn't he just have to register it again? Yeah, you see, he didn't have the credentials to do that, to fix the problem. They had to get an engineer on site to fix the problem. So they get on the phone. They send up the Facebook bat signal, and the engineer comes flying on a plane because they have like 6 for the company, right? Private Facebook jet lands, Guy jumps out, running with the suitcase and handcuffed to his wrist, just runs up to the door, grabs his card, scans it on the door, and it goes, What? Scans it again. What? You see, the door locks. Check to see if he's legit by going to facebook.com/check my security card, chump. And it couldn't check because facebook.com didn't exist. Oopsies. So they had to break into their own buildings to get in to fix the problem. So they not only had to break in, they had to fix the problem, but then you see, like I said, this stuff is archived. The DNS servers don't automatically update instantly. So when we have a customer, for example, we always encourage our customers at Schrock Interactive to let us manage their domain names because we don't let them expire. Even if your card expires and you're a deadbeat customer that's 3 or 4 months behind on your payments, we still renew your domain name because if you lose that, your email stops working, your website goes down, and there is no figuring anything out at that point. And even if we fix it, it takes hours to get everything back running again. That's what happened to Facebook. So it just so happened that happened to Facebook while they were having a really, really bad week. The Senate testimony, senators from both sides of the aisle saying that they're willing to let the special protections of Facebook as a content producer be revised so that Facebook no longer has that capability. The whistleblower coming out talking about how Facebook put, attracting eyeballs to their pages above, user health. It's not a stretch. I mean, if you didn't think that was happening, it's not a stretch. It's not. This is the world right now. You can look around you and you can see girls that use Instagram have body image issues because they're seeing perfect people on Instagram all the time and they're trying to aspire to that. And you say, it might be good for them to see real women from time to time that are not filtered, and everything else. It might be nice to do. But that's not happening. So it's all around us everywhere. You look around you and it's like gas prices are going up, but that's not happening. It's the green revolution. You see these things all around you and it's just not happening. Just ignore that. It's not real. It's a facade. We have a marketing problem here. And that's kind of how it's being treated by Facebook. This is just a marketing problem. So they're going to put a pause on everything. They're going to slow it down. Zuckerberg came out and said that's simply not true that we harm teens, even though their research shows, there's some debate about what their research shows internally. But obviously it brought a Senate hearing into it again. My wife was like, "Ooh, this is a big deal for Facebook." I'm like, "This is like the 14th Senate hearing this guy's had to go to. Maybe he had to come in person to this one. I don't know if they're still letting him telehealth in. I don't know. I don't think it's going to change anything." 888-250-2091. All right. Last but not least, some of you out there watching and listening right now are devout Apple users. I use Apples. I have an iMac, okay? My kids have iPads. My wife and my son have iPhones. We are what you call a mixed household. I have an Android device and a Windows PC. My wife has a Windows PC, but an iPhone. So, we are very agnostic about you give me the best platform for something and I'm going to use that platform, right? There are some people out there that want to exist completely within an ecosystem. They're kind of like me when I'm like, I have a Samsung refrigerator and a Samsung television, and I can buy a stove, and there's a Samsung stove that looks just as good as the other ones. I should buy it just so they all say Samsung. There are people that do that for Apple, and there are people who do that for Samsung, and there's people who do that for Windows. There's people who want to have one ecosystem, even though they all communicate together just fine. So Intel's a little, what's the politically correct way to say this? They're a little upset that Apple decided to make their own processors that were like kick butt better than Intel's chips and make Intel look really, really, really bad. And they did. And now Intel doesn't get to be in Macs anymore, and they're kind of hurt about that. So they created a commercial where they brought in Mac users. And you got to watch this at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. But they bring in users that are devout Apple people. And they say, we wanted to use you as a focus group for some secret Apple demo products. And they're like, okay, what would you like? What do you miss in your Apple product? What would you like to see us bring you? They're pretending to be Apple. One girl says, pretty much everybody said touchscreens. Yes, that's true. Apple products do not have touchscreens. Never have. Ironic. They make the iPhone and the iPad, but none of their computers have touchscreens. None of them do. It's not even an option. They created the touch bar for a little while, but that was it. No touchscreens. So everyone said touchscreens. Give me a touchscreen. Personally, I never use my touchscreen on my PC. I have it. I never use it, but whatever, to each their own. Well, judging by the fingerprints we see on people's touchscreens when they come in, about 50% of our people use their touchscreen. So they went through and they said, well, here's a laptop you can fold over in half. And I'm looking at this like, this is not revolutionary. The holiday special 2 years ago, you could fold it in half like a taco, backwards. And you had Apple users that were afraid they were going to snap it. Like they were like, and you're like, okay, no, you just go ahead and fold it all the way back. And they're like, wow, I don't know that I'd ever put this down. And then one girl said, this kind of like makes an iPad redundant, doesn't it? Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? Then they showed him a detachable one, and they showed him all these different computers, and they said, what if we told you that all this stuff is available right now? And they all had that, you got to be kidding me look on your face, because come on, this isn't real. Apple wouldn't. I know Apple's product. This is not available right now. And then they pushed, it was like one of those Chevy commercials, where they all of a sudden like the garage door goes up and the guy's like, oh my gosh, and then there's like, oh, it's the new Chevy car. My grandma's in it. Yay. How did that happen? Grandma. It was kind of like that. It was a little cheesy, but then there was a room full of computers and they walked in there and they were like, oh my gosh, it's like computer nirvana. And literally at one point in the spot, they say, none of these devices are Apple devices. And the people that were in the commercial looked at the guy talking in genuine disbelief. How is it possible? These are really cool things. Apple didn't make them? It's like, yes, things can be made by companies other than Apple. Apple makes a kick-butt product, and their processor is nothing to be sneezed at. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking Apple products. I'm just saying the commercial is really funny. If you're the maker of a substandard processor and you're going to take a swipe at the guy who makes a better chip than you, how's it feel to be AMD Intel? AMD had a worse processor for years, and now their processor is better, and now Intel's at the bottom of the pile, so now the marketing department's getting to work. Rick, congratulations. You're the winner. $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. We'll get that added to your Schrock account, and we'll get a hold of you on Monday to get all the details there worked out. Want to remind everybody about the Aftershock coming up next, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. Give me a few minutes to get reset, and we'll start that one up. Service centers are open and waiting for you for your Windows 11 checks and upgrades. Don't forget to check out Safe Upgrade, SchrockInnovations.com, shop and specials. See you next week.
From the Amish Furniture of Nebraska studio, your home for made in the USA furniture.